Hey everybody, Steve Spohn here with Spohn Performance, and wanted to give you a little video tour of our new RRX series tubular front lower A-arms. These are available for the 1982 to 1992 GM F-body Camaro and Firebird, 1978 to 1987 GM G-body, which is your Monte Carlo, Regal, Malibu, etc., as well as the 1982 to 2004 GM S10 and S15 Truck and Blazer two-wheel drive, the rear-wheel drive models. There are some difference between those three, but for the purpose of this video, the A-arms themselves are the same. There's just some of the minor details of them are a little bit different between the models. But this video tour definitely covers all three of them. These are state-of-the-art tubular A-arms. We've definitely taken things to the next level. They are 100% computer designed. So what we do is we take a 3D scan of the factory A-arm, and then we take that scan, import it into SolidWorks, and we use that as the basis for designing our 3D model of the A-arms. And once we have our 3D model designed, tweaked, moved things around, changed how we want it to be, then we'll use that same data to actually design and build the jig as well. So, accuracy is within like the 5,000ths of an inch range. It's mind-blowing. It's pretty incredible. So here we've got one sitting here, and I've got a factory coil spring mounted in it, just to give you an idea of what everything looks like together. We're building these out of 1.5 inch, 120 wall, seamless DOM tubing. That's for all the tubes, your two main tubes, as well as your cross shaft. It's all 1.5 inch tubing. And I'll start here. I brought some parts here just to give you a better visual reference. This is the spring pocket. And we're CNC machining these out of 6-inch seamless DOM tubing. It starts out as a 3/16 wall tube, and we keep that ID down here at the very bottom, 5/8 of an inch height. From the end of the tube up, we keep that. So it keeps the spring. It's just a hair bigger than the OD, the 5.5 inch factory coil spring. And that helps hold the spring tight and keep it nice and centered. We also have a piece of 4-inch tube, short piece you can see there, welded to the bottom of the plate. And again, that's so that the spring, the inside of the spring will slide down over that tube, keeps the spring perfectly centered inside the spring pocket. Then the rest of the way up, we machine a lot of that 3/16 wall off just to drop weight. Doesn't need to be that heavy. Okay, another feature you'll see, hopefully you can get, yeah, there you go. We have a spring ramp. We laser cut and form, so that when your spring goes in there, it's got a full seat to ride on. The bottom of the spring isn't perfectly flat. It coils up and around. So that way your spring is fully seated all the way around the base of the spring seat. Makes it stronger, makes the spring perform better as well. And then for the G-body and S10 application, that's your shock mount. If you're familiar with the factory A-arm, looks just like it. Same cutout. You got your two bolt holes for the shock's T-bar. You'll actually remove the shock right through the bottom of that. Take the two bolts out for the T-bar and pull the shock right out through the bottom of the A-arm. So that's just like the factory A-arm there. And then over here I have one sitting with a QA1 Pro coilover setup, just to show you that it works the same. So for your G-body and S10 guys, if you want to run the factory spring, it's going to drop right in. You want to run aftermarket lowering springs, they're going to drop right in. You want to switch over to a coilover system, it's going to drop right in. They work with anything. We designed these so that no matter what setup you have or you may have in the future, you're not going to have any problems. Everything will bolt right in. And then I have, here I have some of the gussets that get welded in that we'll show you. 3/16 steel. This is the sway bar end link mount. Set this over here where it's easier to see. And you can see that's formed. It's all one piece, no welds. And this is our front 3/16 gusset. And you can see, if you look on here, we got a little tab sticking out the bottom. And that just pops right in that slot. It's like building a puzzle. You stick that in. That's when the guys building these in a jig. I mean, they literally just go together like a puzzle. You couldn't do something wrong if you wanted to. So it keeps things strong, keeping everything formed as one piece, keeps things accurate, making everything snap together. Again, just showing you some of the advanced manufacturing and design features that we're putting into these things. Okay, well, we'll start in the front here. We got a very high quality premium ball joint, greasable of course. When we flip it over you'll see the grease fitting. Has a very extra thick wall neoprene boot. So it's going to be much more tear resistant than a standard cheapy ball joint. They hold up really good. And then this little plate you see welded on the tube over here, that's your steering stop. Okay, they can look a little bit different. That's one difference between the G body S10 and the 3rd Gen F body. The length of the steering stop's a little bit different, but for the most part they look the same. And that's where your spindle's going to come and contact that. If you look at your factory arm, it has a steering stop sticking off the side of it just like that. So that keeps the same steering radius, same as a factory, so you don't have to worry about any changes there. Alright, and then another feature that we have on these RRX Series A arms that's really cool is our front sway bar end link, and this is included. It's not an option, there's no extra charge, they come with the A arms. The top of the end link looks just like what you're used to seeing. You got 2 polyurethane bushings that sandwich the coin on the front sway bar. The bottom of it we have a spherical setup. We're using a chromoly Teflon Kevlar line spherical joint, self-lubricating. And that makes a huge difference in performance. As you can see, your sway bar is going to always be free to articulate and move as it wants, when it wants, how it wants, with no bind. And that's a big advantage. You're not seeing a lot of this on the market. It's race inspired, but it really makes a difference, and we really like the way that these came out. Okay, and then next to that we've got a polyurethane bump stop. Again, you got an 1.5" tubular upriser, and then you got your polyurethane bump stop that bolts on top of it. That maintains your suspension travel. You don't have to worry about things bottoming out. It's at the same height as the factory arm, no changes on that. Okay, then I'm going to pop this spring out of here just to make it easier to move this A-arm around. Okay, and here's the spring pocket that we just discussed earlier. There's your spring ramp. Your shock mounts for the G-body and S10. Then this little hole you see here, that's just a drain hole we put in there. You don't have to worry about this pocket filling up with water. The water will always be able to run out of there. And then you can see between the spring pocket and the tubes of the A-arm, we have it completely gusseted. These are 3/16 steel gussets that are 100% MIG welded. So you've got one on that corner, you've got one on this corner, and then you've got one up front that ties everything together. Ties the spring pocket, the ball joint tube, and the A-arm tubes. as well as the sway bar end link mount. It ties everything together. All of this is 100% solid welded on the top. These are complete solid weld beads. These A-arms will hold up to whatever you're going to throw at them. It doesn't matter if you're an all-out road race car, you're autocrossing, or you have a daily driver. You know, we're in Pennsylvania. We just came out of a really harsh winter. Roads here are horrible. These A-arms will hold up. They are made to take a beating. Okay, and then here we've got this version we're showing you here has polyurethane bushings. I'm trying to show in the end here that they're fluted, so that makes the grease easy to flow all the way from one end to the other around the grease fitting. Make sure you got good lubrication. And then we have gussets, again 3/16 steel, CNC laser cut and formed, that tie the bushing tubes onto the main A-arm shafts just to reinforce things and make them bulletproof. Probably not needed, but hey, why not? They're 100% TIG welded, those gussets. We TIG weld these gussets. We TIG weld the bushing tubes to the A-arm tubes. And we also TIG weld the ball joint tube up front there to the A-arm tubes. That's all TIG welded. Then everything else tying in the gussets and the spring tube we MIG weld. We do offer option of Delrin bushings as well in place of the polyurethane for you guys that are doing some serious road racing or autocrossing. You want that zero deflection. We do offer the option of Delrin bushings. They're a little harsher on the street. That's why we offer them either way. Okay, I'll flip it upside down just so you can take a look and see what it looks like under there. There's your ball joint. You can see the grease fitting, easily greased on the car. Your steering stop. The underside of the front gusset, we're welding we're wrapping all the corners. We don't solid weld underneath, we just wrap the corners. Bottom of the spring pocket, that is also 100% TIG welded. This plate here welded to the tube, 360 degrees around there, is a complete TIG weld. And then we welded heavy, the spring tube underneath. As you can see, we're welding it all across here, down around, wrap your corners into the gussets. All the corner gussets are wrapped. Same thing here, we're coming all the way up, coming across here, down and wrapping your corners. These are heavy duty. If you're looking for an A-arm with no flex, it's going to plant them front tires. You're looking at them right here. Grease fittings for the bushings. They're sticking out the bottom so you can grease them real easy right on the car. Okay, on this version here, there's not a lot of weight savings over the factory A-arms, as you can probably imagine looking at these. They weigh about the same. So these are not built to save weight. They are built if you want to build your car to go into a corner like a all-out road race car, NASCAR. I mean, that's what they're built for. I mean, between all the gusseting, premium materials we're using, and the welding we're doing, you're getting zero flex out of these A-arms. Zero. You put Delrin bushings in there, you got a full race setup. Like I said earlier, they'll work for anything. You're a guy who just goes to cruise nights, you got a daily driver, you're building an autocross car, drag racing, or you got an all-out NASA, SCCA road race car. They're going to hold up to whatever you got. I'll show you how nice our spring ramp works here. Okay, I drop the spring in. I just clock it until the end of the coil spring bumps against the end of that spring ramp. So I'm clocking it, boom. And there you can see, I let go of it. It is standing up perfectly straight on its own. It's 100% supported on the base, that's why. Give you one more quick look before we go here of the coilover setup. Again, this is the exact same A-arm. The only difference is I grabbed a QA1 Pro coil for a G-body and S10 off the shelf and bolted it on here. There's your T-bar. Hard to get the camera in there. Your T-bar mounts to the bottom shock mounts. And then of course with the coilover setup, the spring's going to mount right onto the shock body. Shock body's threaded with a spring seat. You can adjust your ride height up and down. And then the top of the spring is made to mount into the factory upper spring mount on the frame. So that's a nice setup too. Gives you ride height adjustability. The shocks are 18-way adjustable. You can get single adjustable. You can get double adjustable where you can do your compression and rebound independently. And they also have an R series where you're only adjusting the rebound for drag racing. So that's the new Spohn Performance RRX series tubular front lower A-arms. Available for the 82 to 92 3rd gen F-body Camaro Firebird, 78 to 87 GM G-body cars, and the 82 to 04 two-wheel drive S10 truck and Blazer. Thanks for watching. I'm Steve Spohn, and we'll see you at the track.